Good morning, Phoenix class, and welcome to today's maths lesson. I can divide decimals. So what have we learnt so far about decimals? We've learnt that to multiply a decimal, if we know that 6 times 3 ones equals 18 ones, then 6 times 3 tenths will equal 18 tenths. And to write 18 tenths, we put the last digit, the 8, in the tenths column, so therefore the 1 goes in the ones column. We do that because we exchange 10 tenths for 1 whole one. We also know that if 48 divided by 6, so 48 ones divided by 6 equals 8, then 4.8 divided by 6 is going to be 0.8. So 48 tenths divided by 6 will give us 8 tenths. So first of all, we've got a recap here. So again, it's looking for patterns. So if 6 times 4 ones equals 24 ones, what will 6 times 4 tenths equal? And what will 6 times 4 hundredths equal? And the same with the division. You can have a go at those. So our first problem to solve today, we can see that we're looking down on a house with a pathway, and we're being asked to calculate the width of one paving slab. So what do we know? We know that the whole path is 4.24 metres long. How many paving slabs are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what we need to do is find out how big each of those paving slabs are. So we're going to need to divide 4.24 metres by 8. Now there are actually two different ways you can do this. I'm going to show you a way where we keep our whole length in metres. So what is our divisor going to be? What are we going to be dividing by? We're going to be dividing by the number of paving slabs. How many paving slabs have we got? We've got 8. So what's our dividend going to be? What's the number we are going to divide? Well, our dividend is the length of the path. So we know that is 4.24. Now, the key thing to remember when you are dividing a decimal is that the decimal point stays in line in the answer, the quotient. It is in line with the decimal point in the dividend. Remember, this is the dividend, the number that we are dividing, and the quotient is the answer. Okay, our decimal point, we line up in both. So let's use short division to see if we can solve this. The first thing we need to ask ourselves is how many lots of 8 can we get from 4? We can't get any. So we've got 0 groups, and we're going to have a remainder, and our remainder is 4. So now we're going to ask how many lots of 8 can we get from 42? So we need to think about our 8 times table. And I'm sure you all remember that 8 times 5 is 40. So therefore, we can have 5 lots, but we've got a remainder. What's the remainder? Well, 42 take away 40 is 2. So we've got a remainder of 2 that we carry over. So now we need to ask, how many lots of 8 can we get from 24? Now, I know you're all working hard to remember your 8 times table, but 8 times 3 is 24. So we can get 3 groups and there is no remainder. So to go back to our question, calculate the width of one paving slab. Well, we know the width of one paving slab is 0.53 meters. Don't forget the meters. We're not measuring elephants or bananas or chocolate cake. We're measuring in meters. Is there another way we can write that? There is, isn't there? We could have written 53 centimeters because that is the same thing. Now, do you remember I said there were 2 ways that we could calculate this? The other way I could have done it is I could have converted my 4.24 meters into hundredths. How many hundredths do I have if the number is 4.24? It is, of course, 424. So now I'm just doing a straightforward short division, which you can all do. So if I had 424 centimetres, I divide that by 8 and I get 53 centimetres, so which is the same as 53 hundredths, or in other words, 0.53 metres. So to help us here, particularly with the version that I've just shown you originally, we can make a generalisation. In short division, if there is a decimal point in the dividend, put a decimal point in the quotient, line it up with the decimal point in the dividend. Now, I'm using all those words again, but it just makes it easier once you know what and remember what they mean, so you know that you know what I am talking about. So remember, the dividend, that is the amount that we are dividing. The quotient is the answer, and the divisor is the number we are dividing by. So the next part of this question was, how many slabs would Toshi need to make a path that is at least 10 meters long? So how many slabs would Toshi need to make a path that is at least 10 meters long? What do we know already? We know that each slab is 0.53 meters, or 53 centimeters. We also know that 10 meters, we can work out what that is in centimeters. How many centimeters are there in a meter? I hope you're saying 100. Therefore, there will be 1,000 centimeters in the 10 meters. Let's move on and have a look now how we can solve this. So it says, find out how many 0.53 meter slabs will be needed to make a path that is at least 10 meters long. So here it confirms again, 10 meters equals 1,000 centimeters. Each slab is 53 centimeters. So if I had 10 slabs, that would be 530. If I had 20 slabs, I'm going to double that. So that would make 1,060 centimeters. But that's too long, isn't it? So I'm going to have to use a little bit more of trial and error. If I take away 53, so I take away one slab, I've got 1007 centimetres. So that's quite close, isn't it? If I took away another slab? So if I took away two slabs, that means I could only make a path that's 954 centimetres long. So that's not 10 metres, is it? So how many slabs am I going to need? You're quite right. I'm going to need 19 to make a path that is at least 10 metres long. So let's have a look at this one. What you can do is have a go at this yourself by pausing the video and then see if you get the same answer as I do. So a gardener cuts a 3.5 metre length of wood into 4 equal planks. Complete the division to calculate the length of each plank. Okay, if you would like to have a go at this yourself, pause the video now. So the first thing I'm going to remember is my generalisation. In short division, if there is a decimal point in the dividend, put a decimal point in the quotient. Line it up with the decimal point in the dividend. And as you can see, I've already done this here. So what's my divisor? My dividend is the length of the wood. My divisor is the number of equal planks I want. So in this case, that's going to be 4. So what do I do now? How many lots of 4 can I get from 3? Well, I can't get any. So I'm going to have to carry over my remainder 3. So now I can go, how many lots of 4 can I get from 35? So we need to do our 4 times table. Well, I know 5 times 4 is 20. So 6 times 4 is 24. 7 times 4 is 28. 8 times 4 is 32. 9 times 4 is 36. Well, I haven't got 9 lots then, have I? So I've only got 8. What is the remainder? Remainder is 3, but I've run out of digits. So I'm going to have to put a 0 in as a placeholder. Now I can carry over my remainder. So now I've got 30 divided by 4. So again, what's our times table? We know that 6 fours are 24, 7 fours are 28. So I can go 7 times and I've got a remainder of 2, but I've run out of digits again. So I'm going to have to put another 0 in and then I can carry over my remainder. Now I've got 20 divided by 4. Well, I know what that is because I know 20 divided by 4 is going to be 5. 5 times 4 is 20. So I haven't got any remainder. So I know that each plank of wood is going to be 0.875 metres. How did you get on with that? Did you get the same answer as I did? If not, go back and watch that part of the video again. So question 2, predict whether the answers to these divisions will have 1 or 2 decimal places. Then complete the divisions to check. So what are you going to think about as you're thinking whether or not these are going to have 1 decimal place or 2 decimal places? Can you make your predictions now? Okay, let's start to think about how we're going to check. Let's have a look at A. So 0.8 is our dividend, the number that we're going to divide. And 5 is our divisor. Now, if I remember my generalisation, in short division, if there is a decimal place in the dividend, put a decimal point in the quotient. That's the answer. Line it up with the decimal point in the dividend. Right, well, I've done that. Now I can do my division. So, how many groups of 5 can we get from 0? We can't get any. How many groups of 5 can we get from 8? Well, we can get one group of 5 because 1 times 5 is 5. And what is the remainder? Well, the remainder is 3. We've run out of digits, so I'm going to put 0 in as my placeholder because then I can carry over my remainder. So now I have 30 and I'm dividing that by 5. And we all know our 5 times table, so we know that is 6. And we know 5 times 6 is 30, so there are no remainders. So how many decimal places has that got? That's got 2 decimal places. Let's have a look at C. So again, what is our dividend? Our dividend this time is 8.05. What's our divisor? Our divisor again is going to be 5. And then our generalisation, remember, says if there's a decimal point in the dividend, I put a decimal point in the quotient and I line it up. Remember, the quotient is the answer. Okay, let's see if we can do this one. So how many groups of 5 can we get from 8? We can get one group of 5 and we've got a remainder of 3. So we're going to carry our remainder over. And now we can say, how many groups of 5 can we get from 30? So we can get 6 groups, and that doesn't have any remainder because 6 times 5 equals 30. So finally, how many groups of 5 can we get from 5? Well, that's going to be one group. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 times 5 equals 5. So again, that goes to 2 decimal places. Did you get that one right? I'm going to leave you to finish off B and D. Then have a look at your predictions. Were you right? Could you make a better prediction next time? So then you're into your practice book. We'll just quickly go through these. I don't think there's anything that will surprise you here. So in question 1, it's asking you to do the division. It's put the decimal point in for you. So all you have to do here is put your divisor in. That's the number you're dividing by, remember? So that's going to be 4. And then write your answer in. Let's do the first one. So 4 divided by 4, that's going to go once. There is no remainder. 2 divided by 4. How many groups of 4 can you get from 2? You can't get any. So your remainder is going to be 2. How many groups of 4 can you get from 24? Well, 6 times 4 is 24. So that will be your answer. So that is what you write in the box. Okay, on question 2, first of all, it's asking you to predict the answer to each of these divisions as whether or not they will have no decimal places, 1 decimal place, or 2 decimal places. So remember the last question that we did on the previous slide? What did you learn from that that will help you make your predictions? So all you have to do is, if you think that C, for example, will be to 1 decimal point, you will write C in there. If you think it's 2 decimal points, you will write it in there, or no decimal points, you will write it in there. Then you need to work out each one. So you're going to have 6 different calculations. If there's not room there, just do it on another piece of paper. And then write in your answers for each of the calculations at the bottom. If we look at question 3, solve these divisions. You will notice that they are all similar in some ways. Remember, 6 is double 3. So once you've got your answers for all 3, then you can explain how the answers to the divisions are related to each other. So that's basically what's similar and what's different. How could you have worked out one of those answers by knowing one of the others? Question 4. So Rena is trying to solve 7.33 divided by 10 using short division. Find her mistake and explain it. And then afterwards, you have to choose a more efficient method. I'm hoping all of you will know that if we're dividing by 10, we do not do a bus stop. How do we do it? It's got to do with columns and moving digits. But first of all, what mistake has she made? So how many lots of 10 can we get from 7? We can't get any. So she's carried over the remainder to make 73. How many lots of 10 can you get from 73? She's right, you can get 7 lots. But what hasn't she done? What's the mistake she's made here? I'll leave you to finish that one off. And then, as I say, we do not divide by 10 by doing a bus stop. This might help you. You recognize what I'm drawing? Yep, it's a place value grid. I'll let you finish that one off. And then finally, question 5. Complete these divisions. 27.5 divided by something equals 2.75. Look at the digits there. Look at the digits there. What do you notice? It's all the same digits, but are they in the same place? Is the 2 in this one worth the same as the 2 in that one? That should help you work out what number is going to go in here. So this is saying the other part is something divided by 11 equals 0.7. What could that something be? Could you use the inverse there to help you and to double check your answer? If you need more practice, you've got some more questions there to have a play with. Either that or do your challenges. You've got 3 challenges there. And then finally, you are going to write your reflection. And you've noticed that on this video, I've left the reflection off, but it will be on the PowerPoint itself. Good luck today. Have fun.